Well, this morning, people will gather at First Church near Oklahoma City National Memorial and Museum to remember the lives lost in the bombing of the Murrah Federal Building 30 years ago today. 5 News reporter Morgan Wrigley is live in downtown Oklahoma City now. Morgan, you've spoken with some people from here in our area who have firsthand experiences from the aftermath of that day.
Yeah, Jose, that's exactly right. And I also do just want to say it has been so special being here in Oklahoma City at the beautiful memorial during this time. I actually grew up in Oklahoma City area, so this has been something I've heard about my whole life. My dad was actually at work downtown in Oklahoma City the day that the bombing happened, and just hearing stories from my grandparents, my parents, people I grew up around, it's just so true that every Oklahoman has a story from that day. And an important part of this story is the first responders and the moments, hours, and days that rushed to the scene to help, including some from our area. I spoke with 2 officers from LeFlore County who tell me that everyone came together to help. Though it's been 30 years, for many people, April 19th, 1995 still feels like yesterday.
It was such a tragedy. It's almost unthinkable that somebody could do that.
Kendall Ballou, the LeFlore County Sheriff at the time, was scheduled to be in Oklahoma City for a meeting the day after the bombing. But a few days later, he and Sergeant Robert Walden were called to help.
The Sheriff, Kendall Ballou, had contacted me and said they were needing volunteers and wanted to know if I would go with him up there, and of course I wanted to.
They packed their bags and drove from Poto to Oklahoma City. When they arrived, what they saw was unbelievable.
12, 13, 14 blocks away, windows knocked out, buildings tore up, just destruction everywhere.
Their job, manning a secure gate on the east side of the building with the U.S. Marshals, controlling who entered the inner perimeter.
You can't see it in the photo, but there's a fence right here, and that's where we were, and people would come up and we'd have to check their IDs.
First responders were still digging through the rubble, working to recover the bodies of those who didn't make it.
Coroner's officer would come over with a gurney, we'd open the gate, let them in, and then let them back out.
When they would find someone, they'd bring out a gurney and a body bag, and what I recall is I think they might have used fluorescent orange paint and put a number on it, and I just remember the numbers.
Photographs from those 2 days ended up being important keepsakes.
The Deputy U.S. Marshal asked us if we were going to take if we had a camera with us. And I said, well, there's one of the crime scene kit in the car, but we don't plan on taking any photographs. And he said, you know, I wouldn't either, but I realized this is history. And we talked about it and realized that it was a tragedy, a terrible tragedy, but it was part of our history.
Through all the heartbreak, what stood out most to them was how Oklahoma and the entire country came together.
It is now known nationwide as the Oklahoma Standard of the care that they gave to everyone, the rescue workers, everything that they could have possibly needed was provided for them.
It's a time the 2 friends will never forget.
Robert and I have always been close, honored to call him a brother.
People won't remember, in our area, may not remember that I was a deputy, but they'll remember he was the sheriff. So I tried to operate every day thinking that way. I wanted to do good because they're going to remember him.
And most of all, they both say they were glad to be a small part of helping their fellow Oklahomans when they needed it most. And a reminder again that later this morning we will be at that 30th anniversary remembrance ceremony. It starts at 8:30 this morning at First Church. It's going to be moved inside because of the weather, as you can see out here, but we're going to be live streaming that on 5+, so we hope that you'll join us there. For now, we're live in Oklahoma City covering news where you live. Morgan Wrigley, 5 News.